Tell me if you can relate. I have lost weight so many times, enthusiastically started a program, lost the weight, eventually hit burnout, and that's when the weight came back. However, once I stopped doing these 5 things, I lost the weight and it has not returned in over 2 years. The first thing I stopped doing was drinking flavors all day long. When I would wake up in the morning, I often would brew black coffee. However, it would be flavored like blueberry muffin or creme brulee. Sometimes I even made a latte. However, I no longer drink flavors. I spend most of the day drinking black unflavored coffee, black unflavored tea, and unflavored iced water or sparkling water. No flavors, no additions, plain, simple, and that's part of a clean fast. What I didn't realize is that these flavors are a signal to my body that I'm about to eat. The flavors make my body respond in a way in preparation for food. And when that food doesn't come, it makes me hungry. What's gonna make a diet worse? Feeling hungry or not feeling hungry? I choose the not feeling hungry, which is why I don't drink flavors at all while I'm fasting. I spend most of the day drinking plain water, plain iced tea, plain coffee. I got all of this from a book called Fast, Feast, Repeat. I definitely recommend that you read that. So even if I was making these drinking choices thinking, yay, I'm not consuming calories, I'm doing great things for my body, I really didn't realize that I was making myself hungry, even if it was just grapefruit water or creme brulee black coffee. Speaking of what I drink, I am partnering with Element and they are sponsoring this video. I absolutely love to have Element as part of my regular daily routine. I have their flavors in my eating window or the unflavored while I'm fasting and drinking no flavors all day. I really love to add them to my regimen because it helps me stay hydrated, helps me feel good, and helps me to keep sore legs away, which is something I've battled since I became a faster, especially when I did longer fasts. Element is made with a science-backed formula of 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams magnesium. Altogether, that means you have just what you need. They don't have any dodgy fillers or sugar, none of the junk that you don't need, and they're gonna help you to stay feeling good. And their flavors are absolutely delicious. Right now, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any order. That's a free single-serve pack. It's free with any Element order. It's a perfect way to try all 8 flavors or share with a salty friend. You can get yours by visiting drinkelement.com/fastingfoodie. That's DRINKLMNT.com/fastingfoodie. Thank you so much to Element for sponsoring this video. The second thing I stopped doing that helped me to lose weight and sustain weight loss is I stopped treating exercise and physical activity as a punishment. Any time in the past, if I was on a treadmill or an elliptical, you better believe it was, I must do this so that I hit this objective. It was very punitive in nature, and that's definitely where my mindset was. I didn't do a kettlebell workout because it felt good or I felt energized afterwards. I did it because I thought it was a means to an end. And once I became an intermittent faster, I no longer felt like I had to do exercise as part of my regimen. That relieved that pressure. And now when I do physical activity, if I'm on my treadmill while I'm working, or if I do a kettlebell exercise or a workout plan, it's because it feels good and I know that I feel better when I have physical activity. And that really removes the pressure of do this or this result won't happen. And when you feel good exercising, guess what? You actually want to do it more. So I no longer use exercise as a punitive measure. I incorporate it in ways that feel good, in ways that work for my day. And when it doesn't happen, I don't beat myself up because it's not something that I'm doing just to lose weight or just to have a goal body. I'm doing it in a way that works well for me, and that relief of pressure, the removing it as a punishment, allows me to approach it in ways that are healthy and feel good. Even if it doesn't happen, I'm not beating myself up. I can think of so many times in college where I did workout DVDs or I follow certain Beachbody workouts, and it was, I have to do this every day so that I can lose weight or so that I can maintain a weight loss. And that is not a fun way to approach a workout. Then you're not even thinking about anything else other than dread if I don't get it done, because failure will certainly come. And that's how I honestly always approached working out in the past. And now that I don't feel like I approach it that way, it's so much better for my mental state. And I actually can enjoy working out when it happens. It's not daily. Another thing that I stopped doing was making my life fit a certain diet's criteria. If I was doing Weight Watchers, I almost always would make my meal separate from my family. So if my daughter wanted lasagna, something she used to love when she was younger, I can guarantee you I wouldn't eat it. I'd make myself a separate portion, something that was point-wise better for me, and I would make my life revolve around the diet. That is not sustainable. That makes you go crazy. And honestly, I stopped doing that. Now, as an intermittent faster, I make my fast fit my life. If I have events going on, if I have something fun that I want to do, if there is a social event with food, I make my fast fit whatever I want to participate in. No longer am I going to set event and feeling like, how can I make this fit the points or the calories or the macros? It doesn't happen anymore. That relief of the diet brain is so much better as a lifestyle than fitting my life to a certain diet that I'll eventually burn out and then start the cycle again. No longer fitting my life to a diet is amazing. I have also stopped having foods that are off limits. I don't know how many times in my life I have tried to say, I'm never gonna eat chips again. I'm never gonna drink soda again. I'm never gonna have donuts. Those are the first three that come to my mind, only to then overeat them very soon after. When I remove something, it must be a personality trait. It's something I honestly should look more into. If something is off limits, I want to rebel against it. I will obsess about it. When I tell myself, you're never gonna eat a donut again, I can almost guarantee you that very shortly after that, I will probably eat a half dozen in a single sitting just to prove my defiance. And in my new lifestyle as an intermittent faster, I no longer have foods off limits. I can tell you, I eat less donuts now as an intermittent faster than I did when I was not eating donuts, because I don't have that compelling rebellion feeling of I can't do it, and then the other devil on my shoulder says, well, let me show you that you can. I don't know what it is, but when I have things that are off limits, it is suddenly the most attractive, yummy sounding thing in the world, and I go overboard. That was my life at burnouts with diets. I don't have that anymore because as an intermittent faster, I no longer have foods that are off limits. I go by what sounds good, what's gonna fill me up, what's gonna help me to fast to the next day. And the longer that I fast and the longer that I am able to refine and define what a perfect eating window looks like, the more that I'm shaping the foods that are what I want and those that I don't. But it's not a restriction of Jackie's never gonna eat chips again. And I can almost guarantee you I will forever eat chips. It's just on a much less frequent basis, but they're not off limits. Going right along with foods that are off limits, I also used to restrict portions, or I'm not gonna get seconds, and I don't do that anymore either because of the same concept. If I tell myself you're only gonna have this small bowl, I will continually add a little bit of. One thing that pops in my mind is creamy soup. I used to tell myself, okay, if we're making a soup that has sausage and cream and potatoes, like obviously it's a little higher in fat, so you're gonna limit yourself. And then I would not even enjoy the first bowl because I knew there wouldn't be a second one, and I would kind of dread not being able to get a second bowl, and I would worry about, am I gonna be full? What am I gonna have now when I really want more soup? And the limits and telling myself an arbitrary rule of a single bowl or not getting seconds or the portion control, again, is something I wanted to rebel against. Not having foods that are off limits, not having portion control limits removes the burden of rebellion. And again, that's probably a personality trait, but it's made a big difference in my life to remove those. And number 5, I no longer eat all day long. That's a pretty obvious one. I'm intermittent fasting foodie, but I do intermittent fasting on an every single day basis. My bottom line goal is to fast 18 hours in between every eating window, but it often goes longer than that. Before I was a faster, I didn't realize how often I would eat. In my mind, I would think, yeah, I skip breakfast most days. But here's the thing, if I was making my kids lunch at 6:30 in the morning before they went to school, do you know how many times I had to retrain myself not to pop Cheez-Its in my mouth or grapes or to lick the peanut butter off the knife after I made a PB&J? I didn't realize how often I consumed food even when I wasn't eating. Maybe it wasn't a meal, but I would eat the crust off a grilled cheese that my son didn't finish, or I would eat the last 3 slices of an apple that he didn't finish. All of those habits that I didn't even realize were so habitual as mom, or whatever role that I have, I got rid of them. In addition to that, I got rid of the actual meals and the actual snacks that I did intentionally have. By focusing on having an eating window that is satisfying, that's full of foods that I love, that gets me the joy of eating without the burden of dieting, I can focus on that joy, and then it's easy for me to fast the rest of the time because I'm fasting to get to a joyful eating window. And then I get the joyful eating window, I'm satisfied, and I start the next day's fast. I feel very encouraged to keep that cycle going. I no longer feel like I'm gonna hit burnout. I don't feel like this needs to end anytime soon. I just enjoy every fast and every eating window. So by not eating all day long, I've really morphed my habits. It may be obvious that not eating all day is intermittent fasting, but if you want to adopt this as your new lifestyle and you don't know where to start, you need to check out this video right here where I tell you exactly how I would start as a new intermittent faster today. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao, down and ciao.